welcome back to another episode of Table for Us. Go ahead and pull up a seat to the table and let's jump into our new episode. But of course, before I do anything, I always got to give praise and honor and all glory to God because without Him, I would not be where I am today. I would not be able to do the things that I do without Him. And also, if you are someone who is interested in starting your own podcast and you want some direction, don't know where to start, what to use, I am going to leave some information below because I host my podcast episodes on Podbean and they are wonderful. So I'll make sure that I'll leave their link below. Go ahead and check them out and get your podcast started. Okay, so tonight I am actually recording. It's nighttime. Usually I record during the day, but it's been so hectic that the days have just been getting away from me. So the episode that we are going to be talking about tonight is called Make Me or Break Me. In other words, the things that you go through can either make you or break you. All right. And I want to talk about the lessons that I have learned and the things that I have gone through. I am so grateful and thankful that I don't look like everything that I've been through. Now, today was a long day, so I probably look like I'm tired, but I have been through so much in my life that I have used everything that I have gone through, the losses, the lessons, and everything to strengthen who I am today instead of breaking me and allowing me to sit and stay in whatever it is that I was going through. So, the first thing I basically want to talk about is just a reflection. So, if you have subscribed to my channel and you have been following me, I have talked about a number of different things that I have gone through in my life. I talk about when I was a teenager, I was 14 years old, and I was raped by someone who I actually had a crush on. And for many years, I blamed myself. Okay. And the reason that I blame myself is because I had a crush on him. And I was just like, okay, this was my fault because I liked him and something I said or did, or even something I wore gave him the impression that I wanted to engage in sexual relationship with him. And I was 14 years old. I just liked him. I had a crush on him. I was not interested in having sex with this person, but I blame myself because I was like, there was something that I actually did that caused this to happen. And I can actually remember to this day, what I actually had on the day that I was raped. I had on some white pants because I loved wearing white jeans. And I had on a red and white striped button-up shirt. I don't remember my shoes I had on, but I remember my outfit. And I remember just feeling, oh, I'm just like super cute today or whatever. And I was on my way walking to go pick up my little sisters from their after school program. And I remember seeing him and the fact that he even talked to me, it was just like, he talked to me. He was like, hey, Nicole, blah, blah, blah. And pretty much was just asking me what I was doing. And I told him I was going to go pick up my sisters. It was like, what time you got to pick them up? I remember him asking that. And I remember I had a little bit of time, right? Because I wasn't too far from their school. And he was like, oh, you could come hang out with me. And I was like, no, I don't want to be late. He's like, you just come hang out with me for a little bit. And I went into his house. So that was my other thing. I was just like, I blame myself because I had no business going in his house. But again, I liked him. He was older and I allowed him persuade me to come in and hang out with him. Now, when all that happened, and after it happened, I went to go get my sisters. So basically, you're probably wondering, okay, what happened when you got in his house? So he had this pit bull. I forget what her name was, but she was a very vicious pit bull. She was a very aggressive pit bull, and she was a very, command-based pit bull. Like, as soon as he gave her a command, she was on it. So when we went in his house and we were upstairs in his room just hanging out and stuff, and he proceeded to like touch me and stuff. And I was just like, okay, no, I don't want to do this or whatever. He basically, I remember him, I don't know what the command was he said to her, but whatever he said to her, she started growling like she was about to attack me. And he basically said, if you don't let me do what I want to do, basically, I'm a sicker on you. So me being terrified of this dog, of course, I just let him do what he wanted to do. So for years, I blamed myself with that, right? And I could have literally allowed that to put me in this shell, in this place where I just shut the entire world off. Now, honestly, I don't remember exactly what my actions and stuff were, but I just know that I didn't allow it to keep me stuck in that, even to this day. It took me a minute to stop blaming myself for what happened, but I didn't allow me to keep me stuck in that moment. In other words, right? I kept moving forward, doing what I needed to do in life to get where it is I was trying to get. And the main thing I was trying to do was get out of my neighborhood and move away somewhere else. So that was one major situation that happened in my life that I did not allow to break me. If anything, it gave me, once I got out of blaming myself, it gave me power to not be so easily influenced, right? I might have ignored a lot of red flags from my relationships that I got into, but I definitely had a wall up with so many people and my relationships after that had happened. Not to say that, yes, it didn't break me, but it definitely affected me. So I don't want you guys to get confused on that. So it didn't break me, but it definitely affected me and how I move forward with other people that basically were close to me or came into my life. And I can definitely say and give praise where praise is due to God because I wasn't, how can I put this? I went to church, right? But I wasn't very religious at the time when I was a teenager. Like I went to church because it was something that I had been doing since I was a little girl that my grandmother introduced me to. It was something that I knew that I was supposed to be doing. Like I was supposed to be going to church. I was supposed to be a good girl. I was supposed to do all these things. So I did it more so out of routine and obligation, and not because that was something that I actually wanted to do at that time, if that makes sense. But because I accepted Christ into my life and I knew that he was real, I'd like to believe that Jesus had his hand on me my entire life. Like literally from the time that we were born, he knows every single hair that is on our head. How many, right? So he is always in our lives, but I feel like there was times where I knew to pray, right? And I knew to read my Bible, even if I didn't fully understand what it was that I was reading or praying or whatever. Like I stayed in church. And after my grandmother passed, which I was about 16 years old, I continued to go to church. I didn't go as often, but I continued to go to church. I stayed in the church choir. I stayed active in whatever youth activities and so forth that were going on, right? So I still continued to surround myself around God-fearing people, right? And they can tell when something was wrong with me, so they would pray for me and things of that sort. And because of those things, I truly believe that it helped me not to break because after the situation had happened with me. Okay. I'm very grateful that I had at least that foundation when it came to religion and church. Okay. Because now as an adult, my relationship is completely different because I'm choosing to be in my word. I'm choosing to go to church. I'm choosing to listen to gospel. I'm choosing to give praise to God. Like I'm choosing him over my own wants and desires, right? I'm choosing him and trusting that he is going to guide me through whatever it is that I need to go through. And that's now after everything that I've gone through. Because I look back and I know that because of him, I was able to get through those things and overcome those things. Okay. So I know quite a few people who are probably watching this episode that has gone through a lot of things or might still be going through whatever it is you're going through. There was something that was said to me, and I just saw this in a sermon recently where they talk about the analogy of a car, basically, and they say how the windshield is bigger than the rearview mirror for a reason, because it's more important to see where you're going than where you came from. Okay. And then there was another thing that like resonated with me. I was watching this movie and I think it was called, or it was actually a show or something, but it was called Maze Runners, I believe. And I remember the teenagers or the characters or whatever, basically they were running, right? And there was always one who would look back. And then there was always one yelling, don't look back. And it populated something in my head to whereas it made me think, yeah, because when you look back, it makes you go slower. It slows up you getting to your destination because you're constantly looking back. So think about this for a moment. If you are constantly stuck in the past, you're not moving forward. Or if you're moving forward, you're moving forward at a very slow pace to the point where it may seem like you're not making any progress at all. Okay. If you are driving, right? Yeah. And you're constantly looking in your rearview mirror. Now, you should look in your rearview mirror because it's there so you can see if someone's getting too close to you and so forth. But if you stay looking at the rearview mirror, you're not going to see what's in front of you. You're going to crash. You're going to veer to the left or the right. Something is going to happen. You're not going to see it because you're constantly looking at the rearview mirror. Now let's apply that to our pain, our trauma, our past, our hurts, all those things or whatever that have already happened. First of all, we can't change anything that has happened. Okay. It is a proven fact. You cannot go back in the past. Now you got all these movies and stuff where they talk about time travel and all that stuff, but you cannot go back in the past and change anything that has already happened. Okay. I wish we could, because there was probably some things that I would like to change. Maybe. I don't know. Because I feel like everything literally happens for a reason. It shapes and molds you into the person that you are. That's how I feel. Everything that I have gone through, everything that I have experienced in life, whether it was good or bad, has made me the person I am today. So if I go back and I was able to change that, I wouldn't be who I am today. Does that make sense? So anywho, you can't go back and change anything, right? All you can do is live in today, right? And then pray and hope you get to see tomorrow and be grateful that you see tomorrow when tomorrow comes. But constantly thinking about the past is going to have you stuck, okay? It's going to have you numb. It's going to have you depressed, possibly angry, sad, and all this stuff because you're in your mind thinking about everything that has happened to you, thinking about how could I have changed this? What could I have done to change this? Or maybe I should have did this. And because I didn't do that or didn't follow my gut or whatever, like you start to go down this rabbit hole of guilt tripping yourself. All the while, it doesn't matter because it's already done. The only thing that matters is how are you going to do something different going forward? Okay. So if you woke up today and you're in your right mind, able to function and do what you need to do as a functioning human being, what are you going to do different today than you did yesterday? How are you going to move forward and progress in who you are? My thing has always been in life is to be better than who I was yesterday. So if I had a day like today, right, and I didn't learn anything in today, I didn't discover anything new, then I feel like it was a wasted day, me personally, right? I feel like we should be learning something new, excelling, moving forward in some shape, form, or fashion. Whether it's learning how to make a dish, right? Or learning how, like, I couldn't parallel park yesterday, but I got it down today. Just some type of improvement, right? And as opposed to sticking and staying like you stuck in quicksand in the past. So I feel like we go through different things. And most people be like, how am I going to believe in God or whatever? And he let this happen to me. He didn't let anything happen to you, right? The enemy has a job. His job is to kill, steal, and destroy. And he is constantly trying to throw people off and keep them stuck in the past, keep them depressed, keep them numb, keep them on substance abuse or whatever. He's trying to keep you in the world and of the flesh because he does not want you to be better. Okay. So let's think about the lessons that we go through, right? God wants us to learn from the lessons. He doesn't want us to continue to repeat them. He wants us to have wisdom, have discernment, be able to make better decisions, right? So let's think about it in this aspect. You're in school, right? Everybody then had to go to school at some point or another, right? And when you're in school, you do certain assignments, you do certain quizzes, you take certain tests, right? And when you pass those and you do that work, then you get promoted to the next grade. Okay. And then, sorry guys. And then after you've been promoted to the next grade, depending on what level you're in, right, in school, you're going to have a promotional ceremony or a graduation. But if you don't learn those lessons, right, that you studied and did before you get to the test, you can fail. You get held back. Think of it that way. So when we're constantly not learning from the lessons in life, right, we're going to continue to repeat that same grade over and over again until we learn from it. And then we're able to pass that test. Now we're moving on to the next thing. Now, here's the thing, right? I want to be very clear. No one ever said that life is going to be easy. Okay? Life is hard. And honestly, when people pass away, and I've lost a lot of people, and some of those people were very dear and close to me, and I'll get into that in a minute. They have the better, they better off than us. So it's like, why are we crying? Yes, we miss them and we love them, but I'm happy because they no longer have to worry about the stuff we got to worry about. Bills, finances, health issues, drama, whatever it is. They ain't got to think about it no more. They ain't got to worry about it. It's not nothing on their plate anymore. They are in a better place. I truly believe they are in a better place. Yes, we will miss them. Yes, I'm sad that they are gone. But at the same time, I'm also looking at it as, because I love them so much, they doing much better than me. As they don't have to worry about this stuff anymore. Okay. So I always try to find the positive in something, the bright side, rather, I should say, the silver lining or whatever you want to call it in every situation. I have to do that for myself. It's the only way that I'm able to get through tough times, right? If I really wanted something, let's say, for instance, okay, I got laid off from my job 2 years ago. Actually, coming up on 2 years. And at the time, I actually wasn't mad about it because I had a plan. I knew that I didn't no longer want to be at that job. I knew that I didn't like the way that the company had changed and the new people that they had us reporting to. Like, I knew all of this stuff. So when I got laid off, I was just like, whatever. Thank God I had my tax business and my credit repair business in place, as well as my print business. So I had still some income coming in, right? But recently, it got very slow. Of course, it's the holidays. Around this time at the end of the year, people are shopping, right? They're not thinking about paying for taxes, they credit, or whatever the case. They thinking about buying presents for whomever they're buying presents for. So things got really slow for me, and I had to make a decision of I need to get a job, right? Until my business picks up to a point where I needed to pick up, or I can invest in some other things to bring in supplemental income when I do have slow tax season. I had to get a job so I can make sure my mortgage is paid. Okay. I started applying for jobs and I was getting, your resume is impressive, but we went with someone else, or we're going to keep you on our list, but we went with a different candidate, or I went to an interview and they said they really like me, but then I don't get a call back. That was very discouraging for me because I have years and years of experience. I have degrees, right? And so much knowledge that it made me feel like, why don't nobody want me? What is it about me that nobody wants to basically hire me and give me a job? So I started to feel very angry, but then I had to sit back and I had to think, okay, there has to be some lesson in all of this, right? There is something that God is wanting me to learn from this entire experience. And once I actually figured it out, well, actually, I'm lying. I still haven't really figured out the full lesson, but I definitely learned a lot during that time. I was able to network with some like-minded people who are entrepreneurs. I was able to make long-lasting relationships with them. I was able to learn different things that I needed to know for my business, right? I was able to focus more on how to better market my business and just learn different strategies that I probably would have never been able to do when I was working with my job, because my job was so demanding and taking so much of my time that I was just treating my business as a hobby, as a side gig, right? So now that I have all these systems and so forth in place, although I'm no longer just working my business and I have a job, I still have those systems in place to whereas my business is doing what I needed to do, even while I'm waiting for stuff to pick up. Okay. So you have to look at situations and learn some type of lesson. You have to see some silver lining. Instead of me basically getting depressed and just, oh my God, I don't have a job. What am I going to do? And I put on my sneakers and got into full hustle mode because I'm like, look, stuff got to get paid. I'm the head of the household. I have to take care of my family and make sure that we good and provide the needs. Yes, it was stressful, but I kept moving and doing what I needed to do to provide the things that I needed to provide for my family. Okay. So in that, I learned a lesson, right? I learned that I can't quit. I can't give up because I have so many people that are depending on me. Okay. In addition to just me wanting different things and stuff in life. So you want to take your things that you go through and turn it around into something basically positive. Don't get stuck in that. Okay. Another thing that basically changed my mindset in life. Okay. Growing up, I learned everybody knew how to play checkers, right? We all play checkers. And at a point in my life, I learned how to play chess. Okay. My ex-husband, he taught me how to play chess. Very smart individual. He taught me how to play chess, and I really loved it because it's not a fast-paced game. It's not a just make moves just because, like you see the quick end, right? Chess is more of a sit back, think about your move, but think about what's going to happen after you make that move. What is your opponent next move going to be based on your move, right? Instead of just thinking about, I just want to win. It's very strategic. So my mindset in life has switched from playing checkers and just lying by the seat of my pants to being very calculated in every move that I make and thinking about, okay, if I do this, what is the outcome going to be? Is that outcome going to be positive or is it going to be negative? And then it makes me feel like, okay, if it's going to be negative, maybe I should make that move. Or if it's going to do this and it's going to create another move that I didn't have to make, okay, do I want to take a different angle? So I'm always like, everything that I do is very calculated. I don't do nothing now without really sitting back and thinking about it. There is a reason for everything that I do. There is a method to my madness, okay? It may lack madness to everybody else, but it's really a sanity move for myself, whatever it is that I'm doing, okay? And the other thing is, we have to stop comparing what we're going through with somebody else and then trying to basically weigh out and say, I'm going through this or this happened to me. So what I'm going through or what I went through is way worse than what you went through. That's not how that's supposed to go. Everybody goes through things. Everybody deals with things differently, right? So just because I don't look like what I've been through, don't mean that I have not gone through stuff. It just means that I processed it and I handled it different. I've gone through so much in my life, but I've used that to strengthen me. I've used that to push me to be better, to do better, to make better decisions, right? To literally learn lessons through everything that I've gone through. That was some things that I had to learn a couple of times, right? I had to go through the lessons of more than 3-4 times, but I finally learned a lesson in it, okay? So that is basically the main thing is don't sit in the past. Don't let it anchor you there, right? Because you'll never be able to move forward, okay? You'll never be able to get where God is trying to get you to if you're so busy worried about the past. And I'm not saying that the past doesn't matter, right? I'm not saying that your feelings aren't valid to feel angry, upset, hurt, or whatever it is that has happened. I'm saying process it, go through it, and figure out, okay, how can I live a life? Let me tell you something. Let's say this right now. I'm grieving every day. My dad has been gone for almost, is it coming up on, oh my goodness, it just made 7 years that he's been gone. Unexpectedly passed away. And I'm still grieving to this day. I have my moments where I really miss my dad. Today is Wednesday, so this would be his day where he would call my sister, right? And then on Thursday, like we talk to him whenever we want to do, but he had specific days where he was just like, I am going to talk to you no matter what's going on this day. This is your day. This is your day. So my day is Thursday. So when Thursdays roll around, like it pops up in my head like, oh, I wish I could have that FaceTime call from my dad. I really missed hearing my dad's voice. But I also still have voicemails from my dad. We taught my dad how to use Marco Polo. So I have some videos where we were talking on Marco Polo. So when I really miss him and want to hear his voice or start feeling sad or something, like I could pull that up and hear his voice. No, it's not the same as a new conversation, but it's something. So it makes me feel, kind of make me feel sad a little bit because it makes me miss him more. But then it also is just like makes me happy that I have those things that I can go and listen to his voice. And of course, pictures and things of that sort. So it's better to focus on the good memories that you had instead of the loss. Like even what was, but the thing is that you never really get over grief. You never really get over, or not get over grief, but you never get over losing somebody. That grief is there with you until the day you are no longer here. But you learn how to live with it, right? You learn how to navigate life, keep going, even though you're hurting, even though you're missing that person, even though you feel like you didn't get a chance to say goodbye. Like my dad passed away unexpectedly, and before me and my sister, before my sister and I could get to where he lived, which was out of state in Missouri, my stepmom had him cremated. So to me, it's like he disappeared. I didn't get to see him and see that, okay, he's gone. He just was here one day and gone the next. So imagine that feeling of, okay, I lost somebody, but did I really lose them? Are they hiding in a bunker somewhere? You know how everybody always talking about Tupac is still alive. He just on some island. Like sometimes in my mind, my dad's somewhere on the island. It sounds crazy. Call me crazy, but I didn't like we had a memorial service of ashes. And I'm like, is these his ashes? I don't even know if these are his ashes. But you learn how to continue to move forward. I like to think that my dad is looking down on me smiling because when I purchased my house, one of my cross streets has my family's name in it, Royal, right? So when I pulled up to my property lot when they were building my house and I saw that cross street, because I didn't know. I originally bought my house looking at plans online. I bought my house from online before I actually saw it, like the property and the land in person. Don't judge me. I'll talk about that in another episode. But anyway, when I pulled up, I was just like, this is meant to be. My cross street has Royal in the cross street name. Like, okay, Dad. And ever since then, it's like I've been living my life to be pleasing to God, but also to make my dad proud, to make my grandmother proud, who was my mom, right? So everything I do is they watching me. So I'm trying to be better than who I was and make them proud and not sit here and be sad because I know that's not what they would want for me. Okay. Sorry, I got some notes here. So if you don't have a personal relationship with God, and I'm always saying this to individuals, and you're not in therapy, right? You're not in therapy. You don't have a personal relationship with God, or maybe you have one or the other. Honestly, I feel like it's very important to have both because I feel like with Christ, are all things that he strengthens. His strength becomes our strength. And when we're weak, he's strong for us. Okay. And then when we need a counselor, we need refuge and so forth, we can seek him and take that. I couldn't grieve for the loss of my dad because I felt like I had so much on my plate that if I started to cry or grieve, that I felt like I would drown and would not be able to get out of the deep end of the pool. I felt like I would sink, I would break. I would have a nervous breakdown. But I prayed and God, literally, I could hear him telling me, I got you. Go ahead and grieve. Let it out. I got you. So in knowing that he had me, it took me almost 2 years after my dad passed to literally cry and just holler. And I was so angry. There were so many emotions that came out because it was just like I lost my best friend of a parent, right? Like I lost my grandmother and I lost my dad. And it was just like, who else am I going to talk to? Like I feel like an orphan at this point, even though my mom is still alive. But my mom, if you watch my episodes and you're following me, my mom has never really been a mother to me. I take that back. She was, but it was more like I was like a baby doll to her, whatever. Like she did the best she could with what she had, but I never could go and confide in her, get advice from her and things of that sort that you would get from your parents. So I got that from my grandmother for the time that she was here. And then my dad, I would call and talk to him about different stuff. So when I lost my grandmother and then lost my dad. It was just like, okay, like I felt lost. What am I going to do? And then if I really go into it, the year that my grandmother passed, which has been what? She passed away in 93. So it's been like 32 years. When my grandmother passed, it was March, right? In November of that same year, I then lost my cousin. Now I have 21, or is it 22? Something like that. It's a lot of us on my dad's side. But this cousin that I lost in the same year of my dad was the one that was the closest to me as far as living and the one that I grew up around the most as a child. So I suffered two big losses in one year. And to me, and I was I was 16 or 17. I guess I was 16. It was very catastrophic for me. Like, I didn't know how to process that. And it was like, my dad was there, but my mom was going through what she was going through because she now had lost her mom. So I felt like I couldn't even really process everything that I was going through because I had to step up and then be the parent for my younger siblings because my mom wasn't able to do it. So it was a lot of things I had to shove down and put on the back burner. And I don't suggest you do this. Literally talk to somebody, whether it's somebody in your church, the pastor, or it's a counselor so that you don't break, so that you don't get depressed, so that you don't start numbing the pain with alcohol and drugs. And then it's so hard to come out of that. And you just continue to go down that rabbit hole of drinking and drugs and all that stuff. Don't do that to yourself. Talk to somebody, okay? Pray, go to church, do whatever you have to do to not allow the things that you have gone through to keep you stuck in yesterday, okay? That's all I have for this episode. Honestly, I have more to say, but I don't want to hold you guys. Basically, the thing is try to use the things that you've gone through to make you into a better person, okay? Use it as a stepping stone to strengthen you for greater things, all right? Don't let it break you. Don't become a product of your environment. I could have done that, but I wouldn't be where I am today. I literally worked hard for everything that I have today, okay? Surround yourself with people that encourage you. Surround yourself with people who are somewhere where you're trying to get, right? So that was my other thing during this year was I was trying to become an entrepreneur, know what that means to be an entrepreneur and how to grow my business. So I had to surround myself by other entrepreneurs. Okay. You want to get around people who are in places where you're trying to get. And then you also want to surround yourself with like-minded people. So if your mind is set that you want to be a traveling person, don't be around a bunch of people who don't have a passport. If you are somebody who I want to be a wife, don't spend your time around a bunch of single people. I'm not saying you can't have a single friend or have people who don't have a passport, but eventually if you continue to surround yourself around the same people of, where you're trying to not be, you're going to continue to be in that same circle. Like you're going to continue to be that same person as the rest of the people that you're around, right? They say birds of a feather flock together. So if you got a bunch of birds who can't fly, and guess what? You're not going to be flying nowhere, but you can fly. You can actually fly, but you hang around a bunch of birds that don't fly. So then you're not going to fly. Does that make sense? So do better, get the help you need, therapy, a relationship with God. And you don't have to actually go to church. I like to go to church because I like to fellowship with other people who are like-minded like me, who like to praise and worship. But you can stay at home. Find a Bible study. I use this, I don't have my phone in here, but I use this Bible app. And it's really good because it has different Bible plans in there that are basically like Bible study. It gives you real life devotionals that you can follow. And then it gives you the scriptures that go along with different things within the devotion. So it's really good. Call it the Bible app. There's a bunch of things that I've seen on TikTok where they have study guides for the Bible. So you don't necessarily need to go to church, but make sure that what it is that you're studying is valid, is accurate, because a lot of stuff, printed items and things that are out there are not accurate. They might be disguising themselves as the real word, but it's not. So do your research, but you can do that. You can even attend church via YouTube or online. A lot of churches now, they broadcast live. I know my church does. So if I can't make it there physically, I'll watch online so that I'm still having my praise and worship. If you don't have a good gospel playlist, I suggest going on Pandora, Spotify, and you type in a particular artist like Tamala Mann or Pastor Mike Jr. or Yolanda Adams or something like that. And then it's going to shuffle, right? Kirk Franklin, all those people, Ty Tibbet. It'll shuffle other music that's similar to their music and spend an hour or two just listening to positive stuff, right? Positive affirmations. There's different things that are on YouTube or whatever that you can listen to and watch as well. But try to have some positivity that's feeding into you to counteract the negative, right? If you don't have that, then you're going to stay in the negative. Hi, so my name is Nicolette Royal or Nicole Johnson for legal purposes. Royal is my father's last name, but my mom gave me my dad's last name, but I use it now with my businesses, and I am the owner of Royal Legacy Services. Royal Legacy Services is a tax prep and tax advisory credit repair business. I started this business, I started doing taxes maybe about 20 years ago, and I treat it as a hobby. It was always a side gig for me. It wasn't until 2 years ago that I decided to go full in with my business when I got laid off. So I provide tax services for personal taxes. I provide tax services for small businesses. I provide tax advice. So with the tax advice, I typically try to give people tips and advice on what they need to do in the year before tax season. So different things that you and strategies that you can implement now will help you with tax savings, tax deductions, and credits and so forth when tax season comes around. I added credit repair about 3 years ago as a service to my tax business. And the reason being was because I had so many tax clients that I would hear when I would have a consultation with them, they would say, as soon as I get my money, I'm going to pay this off or I'm going to do this so that I can fix my credit. So I felt like it was an opportunity to add credit repair services so that I could help them with their taxes and their credit. One of the things that really helped me in my business is I was my first client. So I started doing my own taxes myself. And then that turned into me doing taxes for family members and then friends. And pretty much everybody that I have currently literally is a referral. I might have a few people that found me on like Yelp or Facebook or something like that. But majority of my clients that I have, they were referred to me by somebody else. The same with credit repair. I actually went to an actual credit repair company before I was about to buy my house. And they got a couple of things off, but they didn't educate me on the importance of how to build my credit back up. They didn't educate me on the different consumer laws or anything of that sort. They just was like, pay me this money and we're going to do this. Well, pay this money to enroll. And I believe they had like a paper delete type of thing. So I decided to do credit repair differently. I probably overshare with my clients. I probably whelm them with things, but I want them to know everything that I know so that they can make sure that they don't get back into the same predicament that they're in when they come to me, right? So I make sure that they know about what makes up their credit score. I make sure that they know that in addition to me getting negative items removed, that they also need to now establish new credit. So I have a list of credit building accounts that I refer them to, and I walk them through the entire process. I also have an ebook that I typically tell new clients, potential clients, right? I tell them, hey, here's an ebook. If you want to work on your credit yourself, you can. And here's the steps on how to do that. So I'll share the link with my Stan store where you can actually purchase my ebook. You'll also have a link on how you can reach me. You will, what else am I going to share? So my number is 702-969-3605. That is my business number. That is how you can reach me, or you can go to Royal Legacy Services, so svcs.com, and you can go ahead and schedule a consultation with me, and I will look at everything that you have going on, whether it's your taxes. I do back taxes. I try to stay away from amendments. If I didn't file your taxes, I typically don't like redoing somebody else's stuff, but I can look at it and look it over and see if it's something that I can help you with. The tax advice, I typically, if you have a business, I love people who have small businesses because there is so much that you are able to claim as a deduction under your business. So those are all the things that I will walk you through and talk you through when you have a consultation with me. So Nicole Johnson or Nicole Royal with Royal Legacy Services. That is all I have for today. I hope that this was something that you can relate to and that it was encouraging and motivational for you. If you know somebody who is struggling with past things and trying to move forward, please and share this with them. Okay. Make sure you subscribe and hit that subscribe button. And again, if you are someone who is interested in starting your own podcast and you have stuff you want to talk about, go ahead and look in the description. I have a link to Podbean so that you can get started on hosting your podcast, out there to other people. I want to thank you guys so much for pulling up a seat to the table with me tonight, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. You guys have a blessed one.